Welcome back to Runway Life, everyone. Today, I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, Cody Barber. Cody has been in aviation since
as far back as I can remember, but officially since about 2016.
Okay. Let's get through a couple of questions and then we'll dive into it.
All right.
Because your career path is quite amazing, to be honest.
A little different.
Yep. Okay, so IFR or VFR?
That depends on the airplane. Usually I like VFR.
Okay.
Because you can just relax a little bit more, look out the window,
Yeah.
take in the scenery.
It's more enjoyable, right?
A little bit.
Favorite airport?
Well, right now my favorite airport's probably Hong Kong. Just
Okay.
because it's challenging, the scenery's really beautiful around there, and it's just a different sort of area, compared to Chicago or JFK.
And after you land, you get to go and get some great ramen.
Exactly. if you know where to go.
Yep. Hardest rating?
Hardest rating I had coming up was probably the commercial, because it wasn't a hard rating in itself, but they had just gotten rid of the requirement to do it in complex airplanes.
Okay.
So I got to do it in the P-92. And in studying for it and preparing for it, I realized nobody else had ever done it in a P-92. So I had to go up and figure out all the maneuvers and what worked for chandelles and power off 180s.
So you did your commercial in LSA?
Yeah, Tango Alpha.
Yep, that's awesome. Tango Alpha's still here. So, and then jet or piston?
It's neither an answer.
Okay, go on.
I love all airplanes, but I do get a lot of enjoyment out of flying gliders.
Yep.
So,
how long you been a glider pilot?
Since 2020.
Okay.
So going on 5 years now.
Yeah, that's it's awesome. When I say gliders going out, they're launching, and I'm like, wow, no engine.
Yeah.
So
once you get past that bit, it's a lot more fun.
I did a little bit of time in like the hybrids back in England when I was very, very young. So you had the Vigilant, which was like the engine glider, if you would. So you use your engine, get up, and then shut your engine off. So,
Yeah, those I haven't flown yet.
Yeah.
I still need to get that endorsement.
yeah, pretty wild little things right there. So let's roll into it. So you 2018 you showed up to First Landings, right? Let's kind of roll into it there.
All right. Yeah, very, very late 2017, I came in here. The flight school I was at out in Sanford, I got my private back in high school. They were sort of winding down operations. They weren't totally done, but it was getting to the point where availability was becoming an issue.
Right.
So I was looking around. These guys had what seemed to be a really nice fleet of airplanes.
Yep.
And so I scheduled to check out in Yoda, the old Cherokee that I don't have anymore here.
No,
unfortunately.
It's been put to sleep permanently.
Yeah,
so.
that's life cycle.
Yeah.
But I came out here, I got checked out in late 2017, and I was kind of building hours very little by little, once a week, an hour and a half a week, every other week.
Yep.
And I came in and I was going to ask about instrument training. So my plan was to do my instrument. I was taking a gap year from high school, and the plan was to do instrument and commercial and everything slowly as I went through college.
Right.
And I shared that with Andrew, I think you've had on here a couple of times, and he kind of sat me down and was like, why do you want to do that? Have you ever heard of this totally different path of sports CFI? And walked me through all that. And that day, the whole career idea changed, the whole career path changed. Yep. And I got the sports CFI shortly thereafter, and I worked here after that.
I would say that was probably the heyday of the sport, the LSA sport endorsement side of things. And it's still there because Adam is just about to come on and do an episode based around the LSA approach and being able to go, CFI and the path to be able to do it and the cost effectiveness of being able to do it that way as well. So you did that, and then you did instrument or commercial next.
I did instrument next. So I started here that summer of 2018 working as a sports CFI. So that became a full-time job very quickly.
Right.
And I slowly worked towards instrument, and I got that in September. I would kind of, we'd go up when, when one of the instructors had availability, or my student canceled, he didn't have anything, or vice versa. And, little by little, I figured it out and took the check ride, did that, did the same thing with commercial early the next year. And then I got my CFI, my standard category CFI the following summer.
Right. Awesome. So that would have put you in, what, 2019, late 2019 at that point, 2020?
Yeah, summer of 2019, I had my CFI.
And then, the horrible time was COVID, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't so bad here, correct?
No, it was very busy. We shut down for about 2 months. I stayed here along with the mechanic and the receptionist at the time, and we rented out the airplanes. And I tried to be very careful, wiping everything down and fueling from the longest hose we had.
Yeah.
But after that, we opened back up in mid-May, and it was the busiest summer I've ever had in my career, even up to and including now.
Yeah.
So I probably did 500 hours in 3 months. Wow. So it was
crazy.
very lucrative. I think a lot of people realized that if they weren't going to do it then when were they going to do it?
Yeah.
So they all came out and.
Yeah, I mean, people were locked up in homes, right? And ultimately, it's like, how can I go and do something that isn't going to, the stir crazy was very real for a lot of different people. I think you knew that for me, I worked all the way through.
Yeah.
I wasn't put into a box where I had to go and stay at home. That would have driven me insane.
Right.
Wife and 2 kids at home. I can't stay. I can't stay at home.
Right.
So after COVID, we're kind of in the summer of 2020. You're blasting through hours. Where did you kind of go from there?
Well, I was getting a ton of hours, but nobody was really hiring. Right. And I was in kind of the interview process in February of 2020, and then obviously that all shut down. So I kind of focused on instructing, and from that summer, I just sort of, that's when I got the glider rating.
Right.
Something to do, something to add to the resume. And then I got my MEI early the next year because they were talking about bringing that twin in here, which they have since then, the Tecnam.
Yep, we've got the Tecnam now.
Beautiful airplane.
It's amazing.
And so I got that, and then I got the glider instructor, and then a seaplane. I was really just killing time at that point.
Well, Adam got his seaplane around then as well, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it was just either just before or just after.
Where did you do your seaplane at?
Up in Tavares.
It's
Jones Brothers.
Jones Brothers, right? Yeah. I always muddle the two between Jones and then Browns, so I've got to try to correct myself whenever I do. So you did seaplane. You did your glider and glider instructor. That's leading us up towards kind of the Christmas time, then I'm guessing.
Yeah. It was a hard decision to go, but everybody else was going. All the airlines are starting to hire again. And I only put out an application to maybe 2 airlines because I didn't want to leave here unless I knew it was for the right place.
Right.
And I ended up getting hired by the regional I wanted to fly for. Okay. And that was in about August of 2021.
Okay. And then August 2021, so obviously you've got your CJO, you've got your start date, you go out, you do your initial type rating. How crazy was that?
That was a lot. I mean, I thought I left here with 3,700-ish hours. I figured, all right, I have more hours than most people going through it.
Let me back up for a second there. You started here with 97 hours and you left with 3,700 hours.
Give or take.
Oh, wow.
It was a busy period.
Anybody that's watching this now that is a CFI that's just getting started out, it is absolutely possible to be able to get through a whole bunch of hours and be very marketable to the airlines at that point. So.
Sure.
Good job, dude.
I just loved it. It was never work or getting, having to come in and slog through it. And, it was very easy here. I can't speak for other schools. I've had many different experiences related to me from other schools, but it was very easy here.
When I come up, I love to just go sit in the lobby and I'll put my computer up and I'm doing whatever I'm doing, right? Whether I'm learning, whether I'm typing something out. And I just love being in the atmosphere, right? You've got a lot of different people. I never went to the conventional college route, but, I remember even in high school, we had the forum, the quad, if you would. So the amount of people that were in there that were all just talking, and it was hustle and bustle, and it was awesome, right? But they were all talking about the same stuff, right? Well, it's kind of the same way here.
It's the same idea.
It's just, now it's aviation. Whether we're talking about private, instrument, commercial, all of them muddled into one. It's awesome to just sit up there and listen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I'd go sit on the couch or something, and everyone's talking about airplanes.
You were always Johnny on the spot if anybody needed something, a plane moved or ferried or anything like that as well.
I tried to be as best I could.
You definitely still have that reputation around the airport. There's a lot of people that miss having Cody available for a quick, hey, can we move this to here because we've got to get a maintenance done or something like that. So that's that. You are definitely remembered across the entire airport.
Well,
I
that's
can tell
good
you that.
to hear, I hope.
Yeah, no, it's all in positive, all in positive. So, so you went off to the regional. You did your initial type rating. What was your initial type rating then?
175.
Okay. So you did how long with that regional?
Just over a year.
Okay.
So it wasn't very long at all. It was enough to have a great experience. I did have to commute to it from here, so that kind of put a damper on it. But
Where was your base?
Chicago.
Okay.
So it was probably one of the easiest commutes you could do because between Midway and Milwaukee and O'Hare, there's a flight every hour from just Orlando.
Yeah.
So, but just having to do it at all kind of put a damper on it.
At least you didn't have to go through Atlanta.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so you did, your year over there.
Yep.
This is the bit where it's going to get everybody. So what did you go to after that?
I went to an ACMI cargo carrier,
Okay.
and I ended up in the 747 somehow. I still don't know how. I'm still pretty sure someone's going to come up with clipboard. How'd you get in here? You get out of here.
You're not supposed to be here.
Right.
That's the other door.
I try to hurry up the stairs every time.
Yeah.
Make sure the door is closed.
Well, that's absolutely awesome, dude. I mean, that is, I think it's the dream for a lot of people that want to do aviation for a career, is that now you've managed to get through. You've got through it, right? You've done the entire process to be able to get to CFI. You've gone the next step and gone into the regionals, and you've flown the breathing cargo, right?
Right.
And now
Self-loading.
now you're flying the non-breathing cargo.
Right.
Boxes don't complain.
Some of it breathes.
Yeah, some of it does. But it doesn't get a chance to complain, right? It can't write and it can't speak, so that works.
Sometimes there's horses.
Yes, they'll give you a couple of choice nays, I guess.
Yeah.
So you've flown all over the world at this point.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to do that. Every trip is different.
Yep.
We're out in the Middle East or in Europe, or it's a lot of Asia nowadays. China and Korea.
Yep.
So, but it's been everywhere.
So Middle East, when you were doing those, did you, other than Hong Kong, let me go there first. What's your next favorite airport?
Bahrain is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Bahrain's got its own little island. It's a really nice approach over the Gulf.
Yep.
And it's just very picturesque on good days.
Yep.
It's also very hot once you hit the ground.
Yeah.
But
well, my dad did 2 years over in Bahrain with the Air Force, with the Royal Air Force.
all right.
And then I had family that lived over there for one of the airlines, and they did like 10 years over there as well.
It's a very nice place.
I can tell you an interesting story about my dad being thrown out of a helicopter for rescue training.
All right.
Yep, they used to take him out. You could basically volunteer for it, but you could be out there for 20 to 40 minutes just paddling.
Just in
Waiting,
the water.
Yep, just waiting for a helicopter to find you. Like,
Man,
that was a little crazy, but
that's
okay.
something else. I'm not sure I'd volunteer for that.
Nope, I definitely wouldn't.
I'll get in the helicopter, but-
Yeah, I'll go in the helicopter. I'm not interested in jumping out of it.
Right.
And, doggy paddling for 40 minutes. So, did you see a massive deviation in routes once you were over in, with all the newer occurrences in the Middle East? Did you start seeing a lot of the no-flies and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of GPS jamming, and spoofing is starting to become a thing, which
Right.
is a lot worse in my opinion than jamming. But our flight followers are pretty good.
Okay,
They
awesome.
they plan us for the most part. They plan us around all that stuff, all the no flies, all the jamming, spoofing.
Right.
That's to the extent that they can.
Right. So, Middle East is kind of, that's drifted off as the amount of time that you spend over that side of the world, and it's more Asia now.
Yeah, right now it's more Asia. I'm on a little more of a stabilized line now. Middle East was a lot of our reserve guys,
Right.
and so the stable stuff is crossing the Pacific to Hong Kong and all the various Chinese cities.
And how many guys are there, or how many people are on the plane when you're doing those kind of trips?
Those kind of trips into China, we usually have 4 pilots, a load master, and a mechanic. And
Okay.
sometimes we'll have somebody relocating. So
Is that broken out like 2 captains, 2 first officers, or 1 captain and 3 first officers?
it depends on how long the day is.
Okay.
So if it's over 20 hours, you have to have 2 captains.
Okay.
So anything less than 20, and a lot of times going into China and up to Korea is usually going to be between 18 and 19 hours. So usually it's 1 captain that's
Yeah,
exhausted and 3 of us that are just back eating the catering and
Yep.
having a great time.
Yep. Taking little sleep shifts.
Yeah.
So I watch, there's one big YouTuber out there, and I'm sure you know who I'm about to say,
Yeah.
but 7-4 Gear, and he just upgraded to captain within the last 12 months, I think. And he shares kind of the day in the life of cargo.
Yeah, he's got a good channel.
Yep. He, obviously just like pretty much every pilot, especially in the real commercial world, as I would call it, stay away from talking about who their employers are, which is for a good reason. I mean,
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I
Just in
totally get
case.
that. Yep, just in case. So it's very interesting to see when he's traveling to these different places and the different hotels and, the different experiences that he gets to have.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild,
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely, it's not something I ever saw myself doing.
Yeah.
Like I would always just be like, well, I'll go to the regional, then I'll go to the major, and that's going to be that.
Yep.
And then I saw these 747s parked on the far side of the airport in Chicago. I'm like, that'd be pretty cool. Let me see if they'll talk to me.
that's awesome. So you approached, did you do a cold approach on them, or did you apply through the website, or which way did you do that?
I actually applied to a few companies.
Okay.
Pretty much anyone that filled that space. So I think I had 4 by the end of the day. By the time I settled on one, but I just applied to all of them. I reached out to some of their pilots through Facebook, and I actually almost went to a low cost carrier. And right at the last second, I hadn't heard back from my current company, and I wrote them an email like, I'd really like to come work for you. Here's my resume one last time. And the next day they called like, well, come up and interview. And
Perseverance and networking too.
Yeah.
I definitely hold a lot of stock in networking.
it's very important. I didn't realize how important that was
Yep.
while I was here, because everything was here. Everything I needed was here. And then as soon as I left, suddenly I realized why everyone was talking about that.
Yeah, I was telling Derek the other day, Adam and I, have you been keeping track of the landing fee side of things?
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit.
So we went out to ORL to have, there was kind of a board and open table discussion about it. And ORL did step back from doing it, actually,
saw
from
that.
that meeting. So
Just to their credit.
it was blessed. I take my hat off to those guys for actually listening to the pilots on this and the owners. But it was a massive marketing. It was a massive networking opportunity.
Yeah.
You had Kyle Pack and those guys out there.
Big guns.
Ed Comiskey was out there. A lot of different people. So it was absolutely great. Yeah, definitely spend the time networking. It's really important. And, bang on the doors, which is, you didn't literally bang on the doors, but you absolutely you persevered and got through it. So, that's absolutely awesome. So what is the future?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've got hopefully 40 years left to go in the industry. So I can't say that it's going to be the same company for the next 40 years. I'd like it to be. But realistically, guys that got hired with Pan Am in 1985 probably would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm hopefully looking at an upgrade in the next year and change, maybe.
Captain Cody.
So, maybe.
One day.
Hopefully.
I definitely want to have you back on once that happens. You might have to wear your epaulets for that, though.
Of course.
Just to
I almost wore them today.
So, but you're thinking you want to stay inside of cargo, though?
For right now.
For right now, yeah.
It's a really good industry. It's stable. It's definitely got its perks over, the 3 days on, 2 days off sort of stuff I was doing at the regional and what the early days at a major would look like.
Right.
It gets a little more stable there after a while, but I really like, you go out for 2.5, 3 weeks and come home for 2.5 or 3 weeks sometimes. So that I really enjoy that, especially being able to travel around and kind of do my own thing.
Let me touch on something for a second. So when you came out of school and you were going to do college, right? Did you ever end up going back to college?
No.
So this is an unfavored opinion, I guess, that I have, is that a degree isn't always necessary
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted, not putting words in mouths or anything like that, but I think it's, there is still a lot of experience-based employers out there that will give you an opportunity. So that's awesome. I appreciate you, sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to share?
Not particularly. I mean, there's to anyone coming up, just you kind of have to do the same thing.
Right.
You have to be here, be available, and you'll be ready to take any opportunity that may present itself.
Right.
Because that's, like you were saying, just sit in the lobby, listen to people, and maybe somebody needs an airplane moved, and maybe somebody needs an instructor just for the day, needs a flight review that ends up working at a certain company, and maybe that helps down the road. You make a friend.
Yep.
And enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Like so many people are so focused on 750, 500, 250, 1500.
Yeah.
The next rating, the next thing, the next company. Just stop for a minute, and look outside and make coffee and enjoy it. Like
we have had that discussion on this channel a fair few times. I mean, obviously, I have that private conversation with Derek quite a lot too, where it's like, keep the passion, keep the enjoyment of it, because you don't want it to turn it's always going to be a job, right?
Right.
But don't let it turn into a job, right?
Right. There's a lot of guys like that, and I find that it's very easy to let that happen to you once you become a CFI, and it 1500 is such a big number. It's so far away, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be 1500. There's no magic thing that happens that suddenly you're whisked away and you're a professional now. But definitely stop and enjoy it. Like a lot of guys that come through the big box schools, they end up getting, in my experience, they end up getting that sort of feeling of, it's a job, I have to do it, and 1500, it'll all be over, it'll all be great again. Yeah. But
so, Derek, have you got any words of wisdom or advice that you would like to ask?
No, I think my big question would be, like you mentioned, networking. You're obviously Johnny on the spot. What things would you give to people in my situation or young CFIs of, like, it's easy to say go network, but what sorts of things did you do or would you do again that you've noticed that you would recommend to someone?
Well, like I said, a lot of it's being here, being available, and the EAA is really good too. So I joined for a spell. I probably should get back into it, but the EAA chapter here on the airport, and it's all guys that all have the same interest and passion, and it's there's retired United captains there, all the way up to people that maybe want to be a pilot but they're not sure, and everybody in between.
Yeah,
so that helps.
Civil Air Patrol as well, right? Would be another good opportunity. I mean, Kissimmee's got a Civil Air Patrol. Sanford's got one, doesn't it?
I think they do.
I think Sanford's got one too. So if you need an introduction into that, you just let me know. I'll help you out. So, yeah. Anything else, Derek? We good? Yeah. Cody, you're the man. I honestly thank you very much for coming on.
Of course, I appreciate the invitation.
I'm glad that we've managed to do what we've done with this channel so far, where somebody is willing to come on and kind of put their trust and faith in the program and not let it go anywhere we don't want it to go. So, thank you very much. And we'll have you on again soon.
All right. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much. Take care and stay safe, everyone.